she stuck that glass in me, and after that, but my eyes were booked the whole time, and they put a blindfold on me. I remember them beating the fuck out of me.
Can you tell him? I said, Puffy shot me in the face.
Puffy's in front of a concrete wall. J.Lo is in front of a bulletin board in some old t-shirts. Now, I want everyone to think that was the night of the shooting. You don't think at Christmas time, Puffy and J.Lo went out in some old raggedy t-shirts, right? No, there was already a agenda afoot to conceal what they had on, to try to sway the minds of people.
Y'all, it's about to get real messy in here. Diddy's wild accusations are spiraling out of control, but here's the gag. Now J.Lo's name is being dragged into the chaos. Allegations are swirling that J.Lo bribed the FBI to dodge arrest. And let's just say the receipts are piling up. This bombshell is shaking up everything we thought we knew about J.Lo's past. Buckle up, because this story is about to take a turn you won't believe. Ever since Diddy got into hot water with the law, all eyes have been on J.Lo. And let's be real, it makes sense. She was dating Diddy back in the day when things were reportedly getting a little shady behind the scenes. And you know what they say, when you're that close to someone, you kind of have to know what's going on. So, the question is, did J.Lo turn a blind eye to Diddy's dirty dealings, or was she involved in some way? Well now, it's looking like she might not be able to stay in the clear for much longer. Our inside sources are claiming that the feds are about to come knocking for J.Lo too. Why? Because they might have just uncovered something that could change everything. And trust, this isn't just gossip. Here's where it gets real interesting. A victim of Diddy's alleged shady dealings has come forward, and they're making some serious accusations. They're claiming that not only was Diddy involved in some criminal activities, but J.Lo might have been a lot more than just a passive bystander. Apparently, J.Lo is accused of bribing police to cover up certain things that could have linked her to Diddy's activities. Sources are saying that J.Lo used her star power to influence law enforcement, ensuring certain records never saw the light of day. The victim who came forward says they have proof of this, and it's just a matter of time before it all comes crashing down on the singer and actress. And if all this is true, it could explain why J.Lo's name has been mysteriously absent from the public's eye as Diddy's legal issues got more intense. Now let's rewind the clock to 1999, when J.Lo was still riding high on her fame, and her relationship with Diddy was at the forefront of the media. But there was a huge scandal that rocked the scene back then, the Club New York shooting. And as much as J.Lo would probably like to forget about it, the truth has a way of coming out eventually.
Was a victim of a shooting that night in the club, December 27th, 1999, shot in the face by Sean Puffy Combs. I was an innocent bystander. There's this notion online, what you did to make him shoot you? Nothing.
As we know, Diddy and J.Lo were deeply involved at the time, and it looks like the shooting incident was more than just a random act of violence. According to Natanya Rubin, one of the victims from that night, J.Lo's role in the incident went way beyond what was initially reported. She's been vocal about how J.Lo lied to the court and helped Diddy cover up key details surrounding the shooting. Sounds sketchy, right? But wait, it gets worse. A report from 2001 revealed some shocking moments from that night when J.Lo was caught up in the chaos. Just before she was cuffed and arrested in connection with the shooting, J.Lo begged police officers for mercy. She was hysterical, pleading to avoid arrest, claiming that if she were taken into custody, she would lose everything. And by everything, she meant her career, her family, and her friends. Talk about high stakes. One of the officers, Sergeant Jack Constantinidis, recounted the scene to the press, describing how J.Lo was practically crying and begging to be let go. She said, "My family, my friends, my career, I'm going to lose everything," as she stood on the sidewalk trying to slip away into a waiting limousine. The officer, who had just been a part of chasing down the vehicle after the shooting, said he felt bad for her but reminded her that there was a gun in the car and that no one was claiming ownership. He explained, "I said, it's out of my hands, there's a firearm in the car, and no one is claiming it." As heart-wrenching as her plea was, it didn't change the fact that there was evidence tying her to the situation, and she was eventually cuffed. But the drama didn't stop there. Sergeant Constantinidis went on to reveal details of his interaction with J.Lo that night, and it's kind of a mess. At the time, he didn't even realize who she was. He simply did his job, frisking her for any weapons as she was pulled out of the car. The whole thing was pretty chaotic, with the car chase and the sirens blaring down the streets. Constantinidis said, "I had her put her hands on my car," before proceeding to search her through her long coat. He didn't even recognize that he was frisking a megastar. At one point, as J.Lo wandered off towards the limo, he asked her where she was going, to which she responded, "I'm going home." But nope, he wasn't having it. He told her, "No, you're not." It wasn't until later, when he learned who she was, that he realized he had just frisked Jennifer Lopez like any other suspect. Honestly, we have to wonder, did she think she was above the law because of her fame? In the end, J.Lo wasn't charged with any serious offenses, and she was let go after an overnight stay at the precinct. But it wasn't the same for Diddy. He was charged with felony firearm possession, and his bodyguard, Anthony Wolf Jones, was also arrested. It's safe to say the incident was a public relations nightmare for everyone involved. However, the defense team for Diddy made a big deal about the fact that only 2 people, Diddy and his bodyguard, were arrested for the firearm in the car, while J.Lo and the driver were released. This raised more questions about the level of involvement J.Lo had in the incident, especially since she was sitting right next to Diddy when the weapon was discovered. Of course, the real tragic story of the 1999 Club New York shooting is that Shine Barrow took the fall for it all. Despite the chaos and confusion of that night, it was Shine who ended up being arrested and charged for the incident, while J.Lo and Diddy walked free. But don't get it twisted, Shine didn't just forget about what went down. Over the years, he's been vocal about how Diddy's actions completely ruined his life.
This was not someone who I vacationed with and who he and I enjoyed this great intimate relationship of brotherhood. This is someone who destroyed my life.
In interviews, Shine has openly accused Diddy of manipulating him, taking the blame for the shooting while Diddy walked away without facing any serious consequences. It's clear that Shine feels betrayed by the very man he thought was his mentor. Diddy really left him hanging. But the drama doesn't end with Shine's bitterness. Natanya Rubin, one of the victims of that infamous shooting, is now coming forward with some bombshell claims of her own. She's ready to have bullet fragments surgically removed from her face as evidence against none other than J.Lo herself. Y'all, this is huge. Rubin has consistently claimed that J.Lo wasn't just a bystander during the incident. She insists that J.Lo played a role in helping Diddy cover things up, and now it looks like she's ready to back up her accusations with physical evidence. If that's true, and Rubin's allegations hold water, we're talking about a game changer for J.Lo's public image and her legal standing. We're not just talking about a bad decision, this could potentially be a criminal cover-up.
Artist and Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka J.Lo, carried the gun into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual.
And to make this even juicier, we have the Lil Rod lawsuit. In that case, it's been claimed that Diddy actually bragged about shooting people and even went so far as to use J.Lo as a gun mule, bringing the gun into the club that night. I mean, is this real life?
After Jennifer Lopez was dragged into the Diddy lawsuit over allegedly being the gun mule in a 1999 nightclub shooting where Diddy and J.Lo allegedly made a rapper named Shine take the fall and spend 10 years in prison for them, people have started digging into her past and it raises some questions.
According to the lawsuit, Diddy allegedly boasted about how he'd used J.Lo to smuggle the weapon into the club, which raises even more questions about her involvement. Was she just going along with Diddy's dangerous lifestyle, or was she actively part of it? If these claims are true, it's not just about a bad night. We're looking at some seriously shady activities, possibly even criminal charges. Now, reports are coming out claiming that the feds are reopening the case. Yeah, you heard me right. The FBI is reportedly looking into the Club New York shooting again, and they want to dig deeper into the details surrounding Diddy, J.Lo, and the whole incident. Are we about to see some major consequences for J.Lo after all these years? It sure looks like it.
Law enforcement sources are expecting the feds to widen the Diddy probe to include previous criminal investigations. Now, we know Diddy was criminally investigated regarding that shooting in New York, but I didn't realize the extent of J.Lo's involvement.
Hold up though, it's not just the Club New York incident that's putting J.Lo in hot water. Another alleged victim has come forward, and this one is even more chilling. A woman named Misha has publicly claimed that she was abused by Diddy when she was still a teenager, and apparently J.Lo was there when it all went down. Misha, who had filed a lawsuit against Diddy as a Jane Doe, came forward in an explosive interview, describing the abuse she allegedly suffered at the hands of Diddy and the role J.Lo played in it. According to Mesha, J.Lo wasn't just a passive bystander. She claims that J.Lo witnessed and even participated in the abuse, allegedly even going so far as to harm her, inserting objects into her genital area.
I remember he did what he did to me, and then when it was time for Jennifer Lopez, she was there with a guy, and he was standing there looking disgusted, but didn't nobody save me. She stuck that glass in me, and after that, my eyes were booked the whole time.
Yes, you read that right, and yes, this is seriously disturbing. If these claims are true, it would paint an entirely new and horrifying picture of J.Lo's relationship with Diddy, as well as her involvement in some very dark and abusive actions. And if you thought that was the end of the story, hold on tight, because insider Jaguar Wright just dropped yet another bombshell that's shaking things up even more. According to Wright, J.Lo and Diddy secretly got married during the time of the 1999 shooting, and it wasn't for love. The claim is that they tied the knot to ensure that, as his spouse, J.Lo couldn't be legally compelled to testify against Diddy in court.
And then there's also the rumor that got covered up very quick on why she didn't testify at the trial. on Diddy's behalf or anyone's behalf for that matter. Rumor has it they got secretly married, so she didn't have to testify.
Now, we know that this kind of legal maneuvering isn't exactly rare in Hollywood, but if these claims are true, it adds a whole new layer of intrigue and suspicion to J.Lo's role in everything that went down. Was the marriage a strategic move to protect Diddy? Did J.Lo take this step to make sure that her loyalty to him would legally shield her from any potential legal fallout? Y'all, this story is just getting crazier by the minute. With the FBI allegedly reopening the Club New York case and victims like Netanya Rubin and Mesha stepping forward, what will happen to J.Lo's image and career? Could these bombshell claims finally bring Diddy and J.Lo's past to light in ways we've never seen before? And if the allegations are true, how deep does this scandal really go? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below because we need to hear what y'all think about this wild situation. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories straight from the streets, and make sure you check out the next video on the end screen for even more insane Hollywood revelations.